Special inspection and reporting requirements are going to be found in Admin Code Section 4-335F. As noted here, this is a new item shown in red with a diamond symbol. All special inspection reports need to comply with IR 17-12 that can be found on our DSA webpage. And that includes all the lab employed special inspectors employed by the school district, and then also any project inspectors that are performing special inspections when specifically approved by the DSE or the DSA field engineer. Any report that's indicating or has non-conformance or non-conforming items with the DSA approved document requirements needs to be sent immediately to the project inspector, to DSA, to the design professional, as well as to the school district. And any non-compliant reports must be reported as a deviation by the project inspector, and that would be done on the DSA form or the form DSA 154. Some additional reporting requirements. All special inspection reports need to be submitted to the project inspector within 1 workday of the day that the inspection is performed. And the special inspector needs to submit copies of all daily reports to the design professional, to the project inspector, and to the school district within 7 calendar days of the date that the inspection is performed. And any special inspectors that are contracted directly with the school district, they would need to complete their verified report and submit it to the project inspector, to DSA, to the design professional, and to the school district within 14 days of conclusion of the work that required the special inspection. There's some more information regarding verified reports found in Admin Code Section 4-336A, which basically states that as the work of construction progresses, all of these folks need to submit a verified report. So that includes the design professional, the architect and registered engineers and responsible for their portion of work, the project inspector, the geotech, the lab, any approved SIs or special inspectors that are contracted individually through the school district, and the contractor shall each make and sign under penalty of perjury a verified report that gets submitted and provide a copy of that same report to the project inspector. It's important to note the phrase or wording or language "as the work of construction progresses," that serves as the basis and as the implementing code language that is used for the inspection card form, the DSA 152, and interim verified reports. The only exception to this is for the contractor who only needs to submit a final verified report, does not need to do the interim verified reports. Verified reports need to be made upon the DSA forms. In this case, this is showing the 6 PI for the project inspector, indicating personal knowledge that all work performed and materials used during that period comply with the DSA approved plans and specs. And we'll talk a little bit more about what the definition of DSA approved plans and specs means as we get further into on future slides. The verified reports need to be submitted on the specific DSA prescribed form. These are going to be provided in one of the resource tabs as part of this training. So for the project inspector, you would use the forms DSA 152 and the 6-PI. Note that the 152 is going to be considered the project inspector's interim verified report, and the 6-PI is going to be the final verified report. And then for the design professionals, architect, engineer, they would use the form DSA 6-AE, and then the lab, all of their items are going to be captured on the form DSA 291. Note that when the lab also provides special inspections, they would file a form 291 with the combination section is filled out. Some additional verified report forms. So for special inspectors that are contracted independently with the school district, again, they would use the form DSA 292, and that's only required if they are employed or contracted directly with the school district. Otherwise, they would just be included with the lab's report on the 291 as mentioned before. And then the geotechnical engineer, their items would be on the form DSA 293. And note that the geotechnical engineer only is required to submit this form when a geotechnical report is provided as part of the construction documents. And this would be identified on the DSA 103 form when it identifies the reports that are required. And then again, the contractor would use the form DSA 6-C, and they would only do a final verified report at the end of construction. This slide outlines when you would be expected to submit the verified reports. So these show some of the triggering events. In the first sub-bullet, for the architect, engineer, the design professional, and the project inspector would submit a completion of construction as determined acceptable by DSA. And then the design professional, the PI, and the special inspector would also submit forms when the construction is suspended at any point for more than a month at a time. Also, the project inspector submits when any building included in the scope of the project is occupied or reoccupied. So if you had 5 or 6 buildings and they're still working on 4 of them, but one of the buildings is occupied or reoccupied, the project inspector would need to go ahead and submit the verified report at that point. Also, if everyone's required to file the verified reports whenever their services have been terminated for any reason. So if someone retires or relocates, anytime they're no longer working on the project, they would go ahead and submit a final or a verified report at that point. And then also the lab manager would submit one at the completion of the testing program. Continuing that discussion, any independent special inspector that's contracted directly with the school board or school district will go ahead and submit it at the conclusion of the work that they were performing that required the special inspection. And then the geotechnical engineer would submit it upon completion of their duty. So as soon as the soils work and everything is done, they would go ahead and submit at that time. And then contractors at the completion of each contract. And then this last one in bold, by any party listed above at any time a verified report is requested by DSA. So if DSA determines there's a good reason to submit a verified report earlier or at a time different than stated above, then that would be required as well. And interim verified reports will fall under this category too. For semi-monthly reports, this is going to be in Admin Code Section 4-337. The project inspector is expected to prepare semi-monthly reports describing construction progress and sends that out to the design professional. And that would be done on the form DSA 155. That's going to be found in one of the resources tabs included in this training. And then also a copy would need to be sent to the school district, to DSA, and put in the PI job file. Failure to comply with this is calls for DSA to withdraw approval of the project inspector. We really rely heavily on the project inspector to include and submit these semi-monthly reports to keep us in the loop on everything that's happening out on the job site during construction. So it's really important that that gets submitted in a timely manner.